that was my
No, that's
fault.
fine. No, that's fine. But you have to practice
okay.
that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
also, you remember Katie maybe said, don't put too much detail in there, because
Okay.
what will happen, your audience will start looking at the PowerPoint, they don't hear you anymore.
Okay.
So if you don't show the income statement, for instance,
I
because
should
there are always a few people that go like, wait a minute, and then
You start to look at the numbers,
Right.
yeah.
You
Rubric
start to look at the
says
numbers.
to include the graph. Should I we'll talk about it later. But
Right, we talk about it later, but no details in the PowerPoint,
Okay.
because you lose your audience completely, okay? But some of the slides are really, really nice, really good. Just the details, some show a meeting there.
Mhm.
Can you use the real people rather than
Yeah.
some models? You know?
We can take pictures today.
Take a picture, right? Now to
Since you're
the,
all decked out, you can just do
Okay.
a shot of the meeting that you're having.
it's nice that I heard that you have the production location in there, that was new. Is that
Yeah.
the way it works?
Mhm.
So now a serious question, okay? So talk to me a little bit about this startup, because you start with quite a high amount of dollars in the first month. Talk about the logistics. How do you arrange the production in Taiwan, the recycling of the jeans? How do you set it all up? And how is that going to work?
Production. Well, I don't really know how to answer that because I deal with the virtual.
No, I'm not addressing to you. Address to the team. Okay. So
Okay, so our production process starts in Taiwan. We send them our designs that we create, and they manufacture them at Karai Town. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Kaohsiung Town.
God bless you.
And sorry, it costs $4.23 to make, and then they send it back to us. It takes about a month for them to send it, so we have to order in advance. And as we get them, we sell them for about $20 to $15.
How do you get the recycled jeans over there? You collect them in the States only, or?
Well, they actually have their own recycled denim there, so they take a roll of it and they create it into our products.
Oh, so they use their own material?
Yeah.
Okay. I do have a financial question. Oh no, they address it to the team, right? And then Katie decides who will answer, right?
It's kind of like step forward, right?
Yeah, you kind of step
But
forward.
You ask one of the other team members to answer the question,
Yeah,
right?
so if I, let's say it's a financial question and say I don't know how to answer it and I know that only Hana knows how to answer it, then she would probably just step up without
Do
me.
you have
wait-
to
Yeah,
tell
without
the
But
board?
you have to tell them. You think you say Hannah will address this question. Most probably.
That's a good question.
Otherwise
it's
two
more of
people
a-
start at the same time.
Yeah, or it could be more of a dialogue where you look at each other. So I'm gonna ask you a question and you're gonna look at each other and somebody will go, oh, I'll answer that. And you just step up and start answering.
You remember the video you sent me?
Mhm.
What they did, I like that a lot. So there was one
One
leader,
person was the,
and they said, and John will answer this question, and Hannah will answer that question. There was no confusion in the group.
Okay.
I really like that. But it's up to you, the guy. So I do have a question concerning the investment and the loan. Your cash flow shows a tremendous positive cash flow from month 2 onwards. So why do you have a $450,000 investment?
Answer that question.
The $405,000 investment is for a startup to cover all our computer costs, all our equipment needed in the office to cover the first month or first 2 months of rent and utilities.
And what do the investors ask in return for giving you $405,000?
Hana, will answer that question.
Oh god, I can't make up things in this spot.
That's okay, but it's the question you might get.
Yeah,
Do
okay,
they ask
I'll
a
think
share
about
of the
that one.
company, for instance? Are you going to give away 20% of the company to them, or that's something you have to prepare for?
Okay.
You don't have to answer now.
Yeah, you have to answer
I'll
What
think
do you,
about
what do
that
you
one.
guys think we should say on that?
investors are gonna wanna know what they're getting in exchange for their $400,000 they're handing you. So are they gonna get that paid back in a percentage on each little item you sell, in a royalty fee to get their money back? Or are they gonna get a equity piece of the company, like you have part ownership of the company because you gave us $400,000?
Because they're two different things. The $70,000 you're going to pay,
right.
but there's a 400, and we don't see any interest in the plan for that or payback. So normally when somebody gives you $400,000, you want something in return. So you can't change it anymore in the business plan, but think about a reasonable answer. Right?
So you wanna give your investors some value in exchange for the money they're giving you. It's not just because they're nice people and they're gonna give you $400,000. You have to say, this is what we're gonna give you in exchange. And maybe it's only for a certain period of time. We only need the investment for a year or 2 years. We're gonna pay you back over this time. So those are the kinds of answers you can prepare to respond with. Because the last question here is, would I invest in this company? And so the guys on the panel are gonna say, would I invest in the company, would I consider investing in the company, or would I not invest in the company? And I think if they answer the last one, you might not have convinced them that this is something they wanna dive in on. So that's important. I think too, the investment up front, if you're actually talking to investors, I don't know if you've watched Shark Tank, the first thing they say is, I'm looking for a $400,000 investment for 10% equity in my company, and this is what we do. I like the fact that you present your company first, like you did, and say this is what we're all about, and then you have to at least put up front, we're looking for this from you, this is why we're coming here, right? Because if this is a panel of investors, they want to know right up front, what are you asking for? Are you asking me for $10 million? Or are you asking me for $400,000? Big difference, right?
Would it be good to add that in at Katie's closing statement? Like, they're done.
As kind of a final.
Yeah, and then say we're not open to questions. Or should we just wait?
Well, it's in there. I mean, there's a discussion about it as you go through, so we hear that, but we're waiting for a long time before we hear, this is what we're asking from you. Here's our company, here's what we're looking for, and this is why we think you should invest with us.
Okay.
There's also going to be a question regarding current events. Jasmine, you're going to be probably the most prepared for something like this. So they could ask about what's going on with ISIS. They'll be like, how is the potential war with ISIS going to impact your business? Or they could ask something about, I'm just going through Google News, how could the Paris Climate Agreement impact what you're doing within China? And so one of you, I think, should spearhead just being on top of Google News for at least a week prior to that. And since you're in MUN, you're probably going to have a better handle of that than anybody else. But every year they always throw this random news question in there to just get everybody.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
that is good.
That's good. Another general one, try to stay away from details, not only on the screen, but also in the presentation. So just a few. If you say $41.8 thousand a month, people lose it. Over 40.
Simple numbers.
Simple numbers,
Yeah.
right? Market has developed since March. That's a kind of arbitrary thing. Since last year, better. Because they will say, why March? Why is it so important? So you can say over 1 year it increased by so much percentage. No details, because people will start thinking about it. So when they think about something else, they don't listen to you. You want them to listen to you. Get rid of all the details, the minor details. Okay?
I think one of the key things Andre said was, what are you going to give me for the money? And also, what are you using the money for? So if you're going to get an investor to invest, here's what we're going to use this money for. You mentioned expected sales to be lower than anticipated, right? Wasn't that something somebody said?
Yeah,
I thought
that's
I read
right.
it here.
That's right.
That was a huge red flag to me. I was like, they're going to be lower than anticipated. Why? You're startup and you're going to go do these sales. Why is that happening? Right from the start. If they're
But I
lower
think
than
that-
anticipated,
that was
what does
a
that mean?
threat. There was a threat out of the
Yeah.
SWOT
On the
analysis, right?
SWOT analysis.
Okay.
It was in the business
Yeah.
risk too. Business risk too.
Yeah.
So that's a business risk, but you can change it.
That SWOT analysis is pretty good, and I think it's on the screen. Are you planning to bring them up point by point, or you're going to just throw the whole thing up?
I was trying to figure out how to do that, like the way that it's like set up on there. I wanted to do like box by box.
Yeah,
Like,
because then you
figure
can
out how
talk
do
to
that.
it. You say
It
one
opens up
box,
each
talk to
one,
it,
yeah.
one box, talk to it,
I
one box.
couldn't really figure it out, but I'm going to.
All right, cool.
It's hard to read too on a small screen like that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many words, so it would be good to do it like you're talking about. I can show you how to set that up. Is that PowerPoint?
Or it's Keynote.
Same thing.
That's
It's
the
like the same
problem.
thing,
I don't know what that is.
Oh, geez.
Apple thing.
It's an Apple thing. There's also some spell check things that you need to do in here. There's some words. Did you see that?
Yeah,
I did too.
I caught that.
Okay, so I don't know what else. I just saw that one and I was like, you're in a hurry. It's no
I was
big
gonna
deal.
look back
Such a
too.
bad spot.
The org chart that you put in there is non-standard.
What is it?
The organizational
Yeah.
chart, it just has all these lines all over the place. And typically when we're looking at an org chart, it's a lot more structured. Here's the boss. There's a line that goes down to these different departments, and then they have sub-tier reporting managers.
Okay.
And it's very organized. And I was looking at that going, what is this gonna be? You know, there's people all over, but then I realized it was just VP and subordinates and that kind of thing. But I think if you structured that like a normal org chart, if you look at any company online, you'll see that it's very structured and organized.
I think one of the reasons is too much detail in there again. You
Yeah.
don't show the lower
Right.
levels. Don't
Yeah.
show.
I talk about directors, associates, and assistants in here, like that's where I kept it at, cause like I didn't go any farther. And then, but in the thing, I said 5 each department, so like I put in 10 for like, cause it was 5, should I like not put in that much?
I would keep it to the VP level and then.
Well, this is just, it doesn't even give the specific departments, it just
Yeah.
says VP director, VP director.
Should I put in specific?
But I would put VP of marketing, VP of sales, VP all the way across the top,
And then
and they
could-
report in.
Cut out the
Okay.
associates and directors.
Yeah, you don't need the bottom level stuff.
You don't need, if people know that they're there. You can indicate the number of people, for instance. Are these people, are they familiar with the business plan and the details of it? They are?
Yep.
Okay.
So they know what they're looking for as they
Yep,
go through.
they know what they're
So
looking
you have
They're
for.
looking for certain things.
Yep,
that
they're looking for
have been
certain
said.
things.
You
But-
remember that question we had here about your very, very low salary expenses in your income statement and your very, very complex organization in terms of manpower. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ask you, how come you have such low salary in your income statement while employing so many people?
Will they have time to look at all that?
Yes.
I've known,
I
well,
don't
they
know, I
had the
mean-
business for 2 weeks already.
Oh, they've already looked at it
Yeah.
before you guys get here,
Yeah.
so they know what you're gonna talk about.
So you have to be prepared
That's
for
very
that.
helpful.
As well as,
That's
where
a
is
tough
your
one.
CEO, which we know the answer to that, he has strep throat.
Well.
That's the
You
real
talk about
answer.
in my organizing and directing, it says the CEO and the COO both work behind the scenes with their 5 departments to bring forward the best results possible. So that was our answer, but he really does have strep throat.
Yeah, I would go with the
He's
strep
way
throat.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I would go with strep throat.
Yeah.
And then if they ask about the COO, he's been organizing the rest of the class while and doing all the other, you're in every competition at Bakersfield. Somebody's got to be there while the business plan's going on.
Or you can keep it in, well, you act like you're the director and VP level and higher of a company, so you should answer it as if you are those persons. So in real life, the CEO and the CEO will not be there because they're talking to the major customers at the time. They were invited by a major customer. You're not in class when you're there. You're a company, okay? So the CEO and CEO both have been invited by a potential new customer. So that's the reason you couldn't be here, and we apologize for that. Because you are the company, right? You're not the students from Mission Vale High.
Yeah.
I hope that's the way they look.
You're the
Mhm.
executives. You look like executives, very
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of, Jasmine, you'll probably have a jacket, correct?
Oh yeah, I ordered mine, but the sizes were wrong, so I have to ship it back. But it'll
Okay.
be here by Friday.
Okay.
It's made in
I will-
it's made in Taiwan.
Don't
That's
worry.
it's made in Taiwan.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's gonna
late.
come over with the cases tomorrow.
Right.
What
That's
does
the other thing, I didn't ever give you cases.
Andre and Mr. Borden think of the shoes? Are they appropriate?
Can I take them off?
Yeah.
Decided,
What,
wear different shoes, and then before we go on, change.
Okay.
is that because they're denim?
And he has a denim tie, but he forgot to bring. So these are like really poorly made,
Oh, you mentioned
but we
samples.
were supposed to give
Samples.
these to you.
Good.
You're gonna give these
Oh.
to them?
Not
Not
these.
those ones.
the-
Okay, good.
Not to keep.
Yeah.